Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley fight last night, and it was it was a good amateur fight. It was a nice little exhibition. That's what it looked like to me. I could see a fight like that at the local boxing gym, and people are saying that this gives credibility to Jake Paul. Where does it give credibility to Jake Paul? If Jake Paul really wants to be a serious professional boxer, he might want to try fighting a professional boxer. That's what's going to get him credibility. But as long as he's fighting people who have less skill than him, and he's always going to outweigh them and have the odds in his favor, he would never gain credibility from the boxing world. See, there's people out here who like to watch fights, and there's people out here who actually fought. And I'm one of those people who have actually fought. And to look at these guys, I see baby mittens on them. They don't know how to throw proper punches. They don't know how to sit down on their punches. They don't know how to put together combinations. They don't know how to read their opponent. There's so many things that goes into being a boxer that MMA does not understand, and that's why the MMA strikers are so inferior to boxers. And so when you're a boxer and you get in the ring with an MMA guy, more than likely your hands are going to be a lot better than theirs. You look at Clarissa Shields. She moved from boxing to MMA, and she went in, and most of her game is going to be on feet, because she's got superior striking skills. That's a no-brainer. She did go down. The girl did try to take her down because she understood that that Clarissa Shields' ground game is not developed yet, and she tried to go there. But because Clarissa is so strong, she was able to pull out a victory. But I want people to understand that when you're fighting and you want to be taken serious, you have to go against serious competition. And to go against somebody who is not a fighter or a boxer, then you just set yourself up for an embarrassment. That's the same as fighting a girl. I'm not gonna get any kudos for beating up a girl as a man. And the same thing with these guys. You're not going to get any kudos beating up a YouTuber as a real boxer or a real fighter. So these guys, on one hand, they're definitely bringing attention back to boxing, which is needed because UFC took a lot of that away from boxing whenever it made its debut, and boxing never did anything to gain ground back because they won't give us the fights that we want to see. But these guys will come out and give us interesting fights that'll worth the time to sit down and look at them, and we will do that because we just want to see good fights. We want to see action. We want it to stay live. We love a storyline, and this is what boxing is failing to do. Mayweather was the king of that. Mayweather would sell a fight like no other. He was a great salesman. Conor McGregor learned it from Mayweather, and he brought it to the UFC, and now these guys are trying to mimic what Conor McGregor was doing because they saw the payday that Conor got for what he did, as far as the back and forth that he did with Floyd Mayweather Jr. So now there's been a precedent set. Every other sport has evolved. Football has evolved. Basketball is evolving. Baseball is evolving. Everything is evolving, but boxing has been at a standstill for years. And so maybe this is what the evolution of boxing is going to be. Jake Paul and his brother have brought in a new avenue for these fighters to make some decent money and to really be able to take care of their family. So I salute them for that, but I would never respect them as a boxer because they haven't boxed anybody. They haven't. And any boxer that comes in and tries to brag, but his record does not reflect what he's trying to brag, there's going to be somebody to call them out immediately. And the first thing they're going to say is, who have you fought? You haven't fought anybody yet. So you can't have any credibility, and you can't work your way up the rankings to fight the champion until you fight the proper opponents. So if we go by this basis and we hold Jake Paul and Logan Paul to that standard, they would not be going up in the rankings because they're fighting these powder puff fights that always lean in their favor. They cherry pick every single fight, and that's just not respectable in the boxing world. This is one of the problems that I had with Lennox Lewis. He would cherry pick fights, and he fought Mike Tyson when Mike Tyson was over the hill, when Mike Tyson was going through a lot of troubles and struggles and his mind really wasn't in boxing no more. Then he took on Mike Tyson and tried to make himself seem like he was some conqueror, like he was great. He absolutely was not. He was chicken-hearted, and I have no respect for that in any fighter who would duck somebody in their prime. So you have these guys who are fighting over-the-hill MMA fighters and over-the-hill ex-boxers that are probably 40, 50 pounds lighter than them, so that they can make sure that they come out looking good. They can come out looking like they were victorious, because that is important. That is a very important part of their marketing, is for them to seem like winners, for them to always come out on top no matter what the odds may be. And that is all cinema. It's all Hollywood, because like I said before, these guys are cherry picking these fights. So when we get into it and we really look at it, how much are we going to feed into this because boxing is not giving us what we want? The WBC, the IBF, they are trimming down their titles, so in essence they want to make better fights. And also this is putting pressure on Dana White to absolutely do something as far as the contracts for these UFC fighters, because they get paid nothing. They get paid nothing to go out and destroy their brains. CTE is very serious and is very prevalent in these contact sports, where you're taking punches to the head for over 30 minutes. 30 minutes of somebody punching you in your face and in your head is going to have some effect at some point. That's just medical knowledge. That's common sense, really. But you know, I salute them. I salute Jake Paul. I salute Logan Paul for opening up these opportunities for these fighters that they would not get in under any other circumstances. I also salute you for bringing the luster back to boxing, because now you have so many kids who are interested in boxing. You have celebrities who are trying their hand at boxing as well, and that's going to bring the crowd. And so you're bringing the crowd back to boxing. I can't even hate on that, but I absolutely will not give you credibility as a true fighter until you fight a true fight. That's just the bottom line of the situation. I saw the fight. Tyron Woodley said he felt like he won. No, he didn't feel like he won. He just was gun shy, because before he came into this fight with Jake Paul, he's coming off of 2 or 3 defeats where he was knocked out. And any fighter who gets knocked out, you're going to be trigger shy after that, because you're going to be thinking in the back of your mind, if this guy catch me like the last guy caught me, it could be good night for me. That's always in the back of your mind. Ask Sugar Shane Mosley. Sugar Shane Mosley was never the same after Vernon Forrest knocked him out twice. Roy Jones Jr. was never the same after, what was the name? Tolliver knocked him out. And there's a history of that. Anytime a champion has been knocked out, they come back gun shy. And I'm talking about the newer fighters, because our old OGs, they had no problem losing. But these guys nowadays, they feel like if they lose, then, you know, that's the end of their career, that they can't redeem themselves from that. And the greatest part of boxing, and the greatest part of the champions that we hold so dear, is their redemption story. How they came back from defeat, how they came back from odds and things like that in order to regain the title. That's what made Ali great. Ali will be greater than Mayweather for the rest of eternity. There's nothing that Floyd Mayweather can do to make himself be above Muhammad Ali. And it's not because of his record. It was never because of a record. It was because of the man. It was because of the character. It was because of everything that he stood for in and out of the ring. This is what makes a great champion. I hold Arturo Gatti in higher regard than I hold a lot of these guys with these perfect records. Because Arturo Gatti did not care. He would get in there and he would go to war with anybody. If you're in the ring with him, he's going to war with you, period. That's what the sport is about. It's about warriors. And Jake Paul, Logan Paul, y'all are not warriors. Warriors don't cherry pick. Warriors don't have that option or that luxury to pick who they're gonna fight. You go out and you fight a war, and whoever's in your way, they get taken care of. That is the premise of war. And so Jake Paul, Logan Paul, you are not warriors, you are not boxers, you are amateurs at best, and you need to fight real competition if you expect to get respect and credibility in the fighting world. This is your boy D-Mac, man. You know what I say. I love each and every one of you, and I thank you for the likes, the shares, and the subscribes. I thank you for the encouragement. Really, thank you for the comments. This is deep from the heart, because there are times whenever we get tired. There are times when this is tedious. There are times when, you get frustrated because of the way the algorithm goes, and you get frustrated because there's something going on where people are losing subscribers mysteriously. All of a sudden your subscribers are unsubscribed and they're no longer getting your notifications. So when we're dealing with all of these issues on this platform, it can be discouraging and disheartening. But when you guys come in and you give us the encouraging comments and things like that, this is what helps us to push forward. And this is what gives us the strength to keep on doing what we're doing. So everybody that comes in and gives me encouragement, you don't know how much it means, man. You really don't. You really don't. You're dealing with a soldier who's dealing with PTSD. And so when those frustrations hit me, they're amplified 100 times. But all it takes is the still, quiet voice of somebody to come in and say, hey, D-Mac, you're doing a good job, man. Keep going. Hey, bro, I like that content, man. Keep on pushing. And then giving me feedback, man. It means so much to us. You guys really don't know. It may be a small thing to you, but it is a big thing to somebody else. So I want to thank each and every one of you again. I love you. Shout out to all the content providers out here who are doing things from a pure heart. You know what I say? Sticks and stones can break your bones, but the word can always heal you. I'm out.